Guys, welcome back to the channel. My name's Casey, and behind me is my Jeep. And in just a minute, I'm going to pull it out of my garage to make a bit more room because I'm going to need it to install some new tires on these KMC Machete Beadlocks. Guys, if you enjoy the content on my channel, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications. I'm uploading new Jeep content every Monday, so make sure you check it out. So what I have here are the KMC XD229 all aluminum machined beadlock rims. These are 17 inches across and 9 inches wide, and we're gonna be putting on some BFGoodrich KM2 37 by 12.5 inch tires. So these are all aluminum, completely machined. Really nice looking outer ring here, the rock ring that prevents your rim and tire against damage. It lets you deflate your tire down into single digits, which really helps with your traction off-road. And what I really like about these beadlocks is they have a dual valve stem system. So guys, installing your tires onto a set of beadlocks isn't an overly difficult task, and you don't need any specialized tools other than I have a valve stem installation tool, which I ordered off Amazon for about 20 bucks. The only other things that you're gonna need are a couple big screwdrivers to help get that bead of the tire over the edge of the rim. You're going to need a 5-gallon bucket because that helps you support the rim while you're bolting the ring on with the tire. You're gonna need a ratchet and obviously a hex key to be able to do up all these bolts. And the last thing that's most important is you're going to need a torque wrench because you're gonna wanna torque each one of these bolts down to the exact spec that KMC gives you. And for these wheels, it is 24 foot-pounds. So we're just going to get a little bit of dish soap and water on our valve stems, pop it through, and we've got our valve stem installation tool from Amazon. And if it doesn't have any rubber on the shaft, just take it and put a rag around it. Give it a little pop, and there you go. Valve stem install, easy. We're not putting the TPMS sensors back on this guy. We're just gonna program the warning out. Put some soap on the rim, just regular old dish soap. Take our tire, and we're gonna have the white lettering on the inside, so there's only one way this is going on. And angle it over the edge. There we go. Easy peasy. Yep. Pull it. Okay guys, you're probably wondering why we have a bucket for this installation. What we're gonna do is we're gonna move the wheel and tire up onto the bucket, and the bucket is gonna support the rim, the wheel, and that way the tire can hang down kind of free in the air and allow us, basically so that the tire is not being pushed up at all as we install the rock ring. We want it sitting using gravity. So I'm just gonna take the tire and rim, and I'm gonna take the tire, throw it up onto the bucket real quick, and then we can start putting the bead in place. So you can see the bucket is supporting just the rim, and then now this will allow me to center up the tire. We gotta get the bead seated just below the edge of the rim. We don't want anything sticking up. We don't want any binding or anything like that. So we want the edge to look nice and consistent. You see how some of the edge of the bead of the tire is sticking up above the rim. So we're gonna just take a couple screwdrivers and push that in to make sure this is all even and flat. So I'm just taking 2 screwdrivers and working them along the edge of the bead and the edge of the rim. And this will get all of that extra part of the bead down below the edge of the rim. This isn't too difficult. Doesn't require a lot of pressure, just gotta work it in. You can see the bead sinks down below the rim. Nice and evenly. Make sure that the other side was already seated. Nothing is sticking up, it's nice and smooth. There's no of those little fuzzy rubber bits on the edge of the bead. These are aluminum rims, but they have a steel insert inside them. So we're just gonna put a little anti-seize in each one of the bolt holes before we get going. That'll just prevent any rust or oxidization building up on the threads over time. And obviously these wheels are gonna see a lot of mud and dirt and abuse, so we don't wanna have any problems stripping bolts if we have to take these rock rings off in the future. We're just gonna dab a little bit of anti-seize into each one of these. So now that we have some anti-seize on each of these holes, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this rock ring now and line it up. What I wanna do is line up the KMC logos to sit over top of each valve stem. And these do have 2 valve stems, one on each side. Once I have it lined up, I'm going to take 4 bolts and I'm going to basically bolt it down using a star pattern or an X. So putting 2 next to the KMC logos, and then we're going to put another 2 across from each other. So at 12 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 9 o'clock. Start these by hand with a hand ratchet to make sure that there's no cross threading or binding going on. Just gonna give it a few turns. I'm gonna take my drill. I'm gonna set it with the torque setting. Take my drill, just set it to 15, so not full drill speed. And what I'm gonna do is slowly bring these down. As soon as I start seeing the rock ring move, then I know I've brought it enough. And I do the same on the other side. Go across. And what we're doing is we're just cinching the ring down in a nice even pattern. It's key to bring the ring down nice and flat. So then I'm just gonna slowly torque these four bolts down a bit with the drill. I'm not bringing them all the way to spec, obviously. We're gonna use a torque wrench and we're gonna get all the other bolts in place. But doing it this way with the 4 bolts allows the ring to seat nice and flat all around on each side. And this will prevent any issues going forward. We're just gonna give it a few turns on each bolt. And this drill isn't set to have enough torque to even bring these to the 24 foot-pounds that they need to be. So I'm just gonna keep doing this until the drill doesn't let me go any further. A couple turns at a time as we work the rock ring down. As you can see, we're getting to a point of where the drill is now locking out. But even though we locked out the drill, there's still quite a bit of a gap between the ring and the rim, and this is what we want because we're going to bring the rest of this down with a torque wrench. But first we're going to install the rest of the bolts. But now I can go around and install all of the bolts using the drill and know that I'm not over torquing them. So they're not going to make any difference to how even this rock ring is sitting on the rim. This is a pretty important step. If you don't bring down the ring evenly or torque it to the right specification, what can happen is the ring can start to shimmy and not sit flat on the rim. And if this happens, you can end up breaking studs off. And if you start to break those off, well, then you're going to be drilling and tapping your holes again and buying new studs. That's a best case scenario. Worst case scenario is your ring falls catastrophic failure driving down the road. So make sure you're doing this stuff really properly. I like to pay a lot of attention to the detail while I'm doing it, and just make sure that this is super even and properly torqued down. All right, so we're just going to put the rest of these bolts in now. Just gonna start them all by hand, make sure they're properly in. So once again, I'm just gonna take the drill and seat all these bolts. We just wanna get them threaded down and into their holes. Okay, so I've loosely done up all these bolts. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna go around and torque them all down to just the highest setting on my drill, which is not a lot of torque. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna start torquing them down with the torque wrench set to 24 foot-pounds. Another nice reason for having this on the bucket is it allows you to sit in one place, and rotate the tire while you're bolting up. Okay, now we have the ring evenly bolted down with all of the bolts, just to a light torque setting. And next, what I'm gonna do is take my torque wrench, and I have it set to 24 foot-pounds. And what we're gonna do is just go around and continually torque all of these bolts down until there's no more slack in the bolts. So this is gonna take a while, because what happens is if you start torquing on this side and you go all the way around, by the time you get back to here, the ring is going to be a little bit lower. So what you're going to end up doing is you're gonna retorque this bolt, and you're gonna go all the way around again. The ring is gonna get a little bit lower, and this is gonna need to be torqued again, so you're gonna go around again. And basically we're just gonna repeat this process until I can go around once without any movement in any of the bolts. So immediately the torque wrench will snap to its set torque setting. So until every single bolt immediately snaps, we're gonna just keep going around and around in circles until we have them all set to the right torque setting. So this is gonna take a little while. So I will see you guys when we're done. There we go, guys. This wheel is complete and ready for air. So I'm just gonna throw some air in these tires. I'm using my ARB digital tire inflator. It has a really nice long airing hose. This is a really great tire inflator. If you wanna check it out, there's a link down below. Now we're just gonna throw some air in it. When I'm putting air in a brand new set of beadlocks, I like to come over to the side and stand over the tire, not in front of it. You never know if there's gonna be some sort of casting defect, maybe a bad bolt or something like that, but you don't want anything shooting off there. So the first time you fill up your beadlocks, stand off to the side and put a little air in them. And we're gonna fill these up to 28 PSIs. So we're just gonna slowly put some air in here. You're gonna hear the backside set and pop out in a second. And then we're just gonna fill this guy up with the right amount of air. And we'll be good to go. And then we can move on to the rest of these. And then we'll go get them mounted up on Mark's Jeep. As you can see, these KMC machetes look awesome once you get some tires bolted onto them and set up and installed. I think these are a great looking rim. And not only do they look good, but a good set of beadlocks will protect the rim. You'll see non-beadlocks with a lot of dents and dings, and that can cause a flat tire. These have hefty machined aluminum outer rings. These are gonna take a lot of abuse. As well, it'll let you air down nice and low into the single digits when you're on the trail, which will give you much more traction, increasing the footprint of your tire, as well. It'll give you a lot smoother ride when you're heading down the trail. So a good set of Beadlocks, in my opinion, is one of the best upgrades you can do to your Jeep. And these KMC Machetes look really great. As always, guys, thanks so much for stopping by the channel. I hope that you found this week's video helpful and informative. Make sure to share, like, subscribe, turn on notifications to the channel, and if you have any questions or comments, leave them down below and I will do my best to answer every single one of them. And if you like great Jeep content, how-to videos, installs, and vlogs, make sure you're checking out the channel every week. I'm releasing a new video Monday morning. Thanks so much for stopping by. I'll see you guys next week.